Now there's a specific relationship between the roots of a quadratic equation and its coefficients, and we are going to learn all about it in this video. So without wasting any further time, let's get into the video straight away. Come on, let's nail it. A quadratic equation is one which can be written in the form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. And we know that it is a quadratic equation because the highest power of the variable in this case is 2. One thing that you need to remember is that the coefficient of x square is a, the coefficient of x is b, and c is the constant term. And we know that any quadratic polynomial or any quadratic equation has got two roots. So let's say that the two roots are x is equal to alpha or x is equal to beta. And it is also said that the relationship between the roots is that the sum of the roots, that is alpha plus beta, should be equal to negative b upon a, whereas alpha beta, which means the product of the two roots, should be equal to c upon a. Now it may sound a little overwhelming, but we are going to learn all about it, that why does this relationship work. So do stick around to the end of the video to understand all that. Now before we continue, I just wanted to remind you that if you are a student of mathematics and you want to learn the why behind the what, that why do the various things work, then this is the channel that you must subscribe to, and do click on the subscribe button below the video and do not forget to hit on the bell notification too. Thank you. Let's continue with it. Right, so before we continue, let me call this as equation number 1 and let me call this as equation number 2. Now from these two equations, we notice that if we bring the alpha to the other side of the equation, we get that x minus alpha should be equal to 0. Or in the second equation, if we get beta to the other side, then x minus beta should be equal to 0. Now if one of these two equations is equal to 0, or if both equations are equal to 0, then obviously we can say that the product of these two equations should also be equal to 0. That means x minus alpha times x minus beta should be equal to 0 because one of them is 0, or maybe both of them are 0. So now just let's expand the product and see what do we get. So we multiply this x by x and we get x square. Then we multiply this x by negative beta and we get negative beta x. Now we multiply negative alpha with this x and we get negative alpha x. And then we multiply the negative alpha with negative beta to get positive alpha beta. And all this together should be equal to 0. Now I can see that I can factorize out the middle terms here. So I can write it as x square and I can take the negative sign as common. Within the brackets I can write it as alpha plus beta times x because x is also common. So I have factorized that out too, plus alpha beta is equal to 0. Now let's come back to this equation on top and let's divide the whole equation by a, which is the coefficient of x square. So we get x square plus b upon a times x plus c upon a is equal to 0. Now comparing this equation and the one that we got here at the bottom, we can say that b upon a, which is the coefficient of x, is nothing but equal to negative alpha times beta, whereas c upon a, which is the constant term, is nothing but the product of the two roots alpha beta. So simplifying this, we can say that alpha plus beta, which means the sum of the two roots, is equal to negative b upon a, and the product of the two roots alpha beta should be equal to c upon a. Now that's how simple it is to understand that why this relationship between the roots of the quadratic equation and its coefficients work. Now the real challenge comes when we start solving a few typical questions which comes on the relationship of the roots and the coefficients. But you don't need to worry about that because I'm there for you and we are going to do it together. But to understand how to solve the questions, you'll have to see this video here on the left side. And you can also click my photograph here to subscribe yourself to the channel if you haven't already. And do not forget to watch this also because YouTube recommends it a lot for you. And as far as knowing why the relationship between the roots and the coefficients work, I think you have nailed it. Take care. God bless.